So the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max are two different devices, but they were kind of marketed as the same thing, just with a larger screen. Today we're going to be talking about those differences and find out which one that you need to purchase. How's it going, everyone? My name is Shayway and welcome to Shayway Tech, where I cover lots of stuff in the tech industry. Today in specific though, we're going to be talking about the 12 Pro versus the 12 Pro Max. So if you're like me, as soon as Apple announced these new devices, you immediately started thinking about which one you wanted to get. And honestly, I thought about going smaller this year. I did a video earlier where I kind of explained that. I think the 12 Pro is a great phone, and I think I'm still going with it. But the more I look into it, the more I realize there's some key features that I may be missing out on that I don't know for a fact that I would use, but I wanted to make a video and cover that way you guys were aware in case these are features that you do want. To make this super simple, I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the Apple website here and kind of do a screen share, and we'll just go by one. So right off the bat, you can see they both come in the same colors and the same capacity sizes. Where you see the big difference, of course, is going to be the weight and the screen size. Kind of a given there. We kind of knew that one was going to be the case. Now, when you scroll down a little bit though, the cameras is where things are a little different. So if we were to look at this here, the digital zoom on the 12 Pro goes up to 10 times, where the digital zoom on the 12 Pro Max goes up to 12 times. And this also is a little bit different with the optical zoom. Optical zoom means that it uses the actual lens to focus in and out rather than a digital representation. And that is a difference of a 4 times to a 5 times. So if you're wanting to get something to where you're going to be taking photos far away, it may be in your best interest to get that extra one-time zoom by going with the larger phone. So one thing to point out too is the aperture on the 12 Pro telephoto lens goes down to a 2.0 compared to the 2.2 aperture. Now this is minimal, but this means that the 12 Pro is actually going to give you better low light photos with that telephoto lens. Pretty interesting, and I'm surprised that they didn't talk about this more in the keynote. So something that they did not really talk about, and that is the wide camera, right? So they both have a 1.6 aperture, but with the wide camera for the iPhone 12 Pro Max, it also supports sensor shift, which is something usually available on only larger size DSLR cameras. This means it's going to take smoother videos, from minimizing hand movement to minimizing car bumps to anything that would have a little bit of a shift in the way you hold it. The sensor can compensate for that. Of course, we do have the stabilization through the lens, which is still really great, and it's proved awesome on the iPhone, but sensor shift is going to give it even more stabilization. So if you plan on using this as a main vlogging camera for YouTube or something like that, you may actually want to get the larger phone. Of course, it may be a little bit harder for you to hold in the hand, but if you need stable shots, this may be something you need to think about. So the camera was the biggest thing that I definitely wanted to point out, but of course, you'd think that they would have the same battery life, but when you look at it, let me see if I can get down here to it. What I noticed, so the playback hours on the 12 Pro is less than the 12 Pro Max. So even video playback 20 hours on the 12 Pro Max, the 12 Pro only has 17 hours for video playback. And of course that trickles down with the audio playback and the video playback streamed as well. So even though they are technically the same model phone, you are going to have extended battery life with the larger phone. Now, of course, this is something that was the case last year as well. The 11 Pro Max had a better battery life than the 11 Pro, but it was only slightly better, kind of like this. But it is something to note. You know, it's another thing if you're out on the go and you think you may not be around a charger for long, having that extra hour of battery life could make a huge difference. So guys, this is really the biggest differences between these two models. I'd say if you're someone that's looking for a iPhone for vlogging or you take a lot of photos, it may be worth getting the larger phone just to have these features. Not to mention the iPhone 12 Pro Max does come coupled with better battery life, so that is something you'll have to think of as well. Even though it is only an hour, it is more. So guys, I hope this kind of answered some of the questions that you may have between the differences between the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. I know this is a little bit of a shorter video, but I don't think a lot of people realized that this was the case during the keynote. So I wanted to make sure I made a video to kind of explain it a little better. I hope it makes sense and I hope it brought some knowledge to you. If you like this type of video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm coming out with stuff like this all the time, as well as liking the video if you did find it interesting. It helps get this video in front of other people that may find it interesting too. So until next time, my name is Shayway, and thank you for watching Shayway Tech.